Hello YouTube, and on today's video I figured since on the last video I showed you guys how to take apart and restore a Super Nintendo, that it would only be fitting that on today's video I would show you guys how to take apart, restore, and upgrade, yes that's right I said upgrade, a Super Nintendo controller. So let's get into it. So, for starters, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to take a Phillips head screwdriver. This is a PH01 size screw bit, and you're going to undo these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws right there. Really easy, really self-explanatory to get into this controller. Simple stuff. I'm going to take care of this real quick right off screen, but I'll be right back. Don't worry. Alright, so with these screws taken out of your SNES controller, I'm going to recommend, like always, put them inside a case or something like that. You know, something that you know you're not going to lose or misplace or whatever. Just so that way you keep everything nice, consistent, and organized. But yeah, so with those screws taken off, you're going to just lift this up, and boom, you're inside the SNES controller shell. And it's pretty, you know, basic for all intents purposes, funnily enough. Especially if you consider, I guess, modern controllers, there's so much going on inside of them. But still, nonetheless though, one thing you're going to want to watch out for is the shoulder buttons right here are on this weird metal pole. I don't know how to, like, explain that. Okay, I drop it. But yes, so you're going to want to make sure you don't lose these, especially if, like us, you're going to be retro-brighting the L and R buttons. So what you're going to want to do, you know, just take them and put them somewhere where you're not going to lose them. Boom, and boom. See? Real easy. But yeah, so from there you can just pull this cable right here and pull up, and the cable will pop out and everything. And there you see that's our D-pad contact pad, which for some reason, like, contact pads always stick to the controller when they're like this old. But yeah, you know, from here it's really easy. You can just clean and wash this if that's all you're going to be doing to your controller. But for us, you know, I want to go the extra mile with this. Like I said, we are restoring and upgrading this controller. So one thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to go wash this, and then I'm going to go put it in my UV box with Retro Bright on it, the Retro Bright spray that I used in the last video. And I'm going to come back when it's been, I don't know, an hour, a day or so, and we'll see how the controller and the L and R buttons look then. So, I'll see you guys in about a day. Alright, YouTube, so we're back now. As you can see, our shell, very close to OEM color, I would say. Even the backside, very close to OEM color, I would say. So that's looking really good. So now, what you're going to do next, before you go into reassembly, you're going to take your controller board. You're going to take, right here, this is rubbing alcohol, or sorry, isopropyl alcohol. You're going to take this, you're going to pour a little bit into a nice little cap. You're going to get a nice little cap full of rubbing alcohol. It's really simple. You're just going to take a Q-tip, like so. Uh-oh, my battery's dying. You're going to take your Q-tip. You're just going to wipe all these contacts off, because these will hurt your button presses and whatnot. It won't make the buttons feel good. And also, it can cause buttons just not being registered. It's a very simple fix. If your controller is having problems, think to do this. So you're going to do that to each one of the contacts, even the shoulder buttons. Don't forget the shoulders. Be careful when you're doing the shoulders though, because they can break. Now look at that. That was some black smudge that was just chilling on our board. That's not good for the controller, and that's not good for you. well, I mean, it doesn't affect you, but you know what I mean. And you're just going to do that to each one of the contact points. So start, select, left, right, up, down, and the other shoulder. I'm going to do this off screen because this won't be very entertaining to watch, but I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so now that we've gotten our controller wiped down, now we can go into upgrading the SNES controller. Because like I said at the start of this video, we're restoring and we're upgrading this controller. Because while I love the Super Nintendo controller, I do think it has a few flaws. The first flaw is that I think the controller is too light. That's a problem with a lot of controllers in my opinion. So an easy way to make a controller a little bit heavier is you take these are called tire weights. You can get them off Amazon, get them in a store, and all you're going to do is you're going to take your back plate of your controller. You can't do this to the front plate because the front plate, that's where our buttons are stored and everything. You just don't want to do it to the front plate, okay? The back plate is where the money is at. All you're going to do, you're just going to take one of these. You're going to rip it off. You're going to take this and just put it down like so. And so the one thing I have to stress about this though, you got to consider where this part right here goes on the controller back, because that's where you can't put any weight or anything, because then you're just be pushing down on that and that's no good. So I'm going to do this off screen. I'll show you guys where I put them and we'll be back in a minute. Alright, so I think this is going to be the proper placement for the tire weights. I'm not sure. I won't really know for certain until after we go about fully reassembling the controller. But we are pretty close to reassembly. So the next thing you're going to do, get yourself some new contact pads. The ones inside your Super Nintendo controller are very, very old. And because of that, they're not as responsive and not as nice as they could be. So you just take these, you just get a set of these off eBay or Amazon. I think I got these ones actually off of Amazon, funnily enough. But yeah, so just get yourself a new pair of these. They're like $5, and they'll make your controller feel brand new. Okay, maybe not brand new, but close enough, you know. So, I swear by these things. I know some people can be sticklers for, you know, wanting OEM products inside their controller and everything. But I swear to you, these are just as good as OEM quality. So, get yourself some of those. Like I said, we're upgrading though. And I've always wanted colored buttons in my SNES controller. I found a person who sells colored buttons. So, we'll be installing these clear blue ones. And yeah, so from here, it's just rather self-explanatory. You know, I'm going to put my contact pads in, and I'm going to put my buttons in, and then I'm just going to screw everything back together. So I'm just going to flash forward to when I got all my buttons in, and when I'm going to screw everything. So I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so now that the controller ports, the controller pads and everything are back, now you can go about putting your shoulder buttons back. Now this is real simple, but like I said, remember, you need these silver bars. Don't lose these silver bars. I can't stress it enough. It's a major hassle, major pain in the butt if you lose them, so just don't lose them. But yeah, so you just put them in like so. You do it for both side. L for L, R for R. Look how white that looks. I think it looks pretty dang good. Way better than it did originally, at least. But yeah, so you just put them in like so. You know, there we go. It's starting to look like a Super Nintendo controller. Now you take your back, which again, remember, we added some weight to, so it's going to be a little bit heftier in my hands now, which is definitely a big improvement, IMO. Then you just put your back shell on like so. Uh-oh. Okay. No, it's not clicking together. That's not good. Okay, I think I put weight in the wrong spot. So I'm going to move my weights around. I'll show you guys what the weights look like afterwards. and then we'll go into screwing everything down. So we'll be back in a minute. Alright, YouTube, I figured out what the problem was. It wasn't that I had too many weights on it. It's actually something a little bit funnier. I had the L shoulder button on the right side and the right shoulder button on the left side, you know. So if you don't know, the SNES controller won't seal properly if you have the shoulder buttons in the wrong order. An easy way to tell is at the top of the controller it says R and L. You know, I wasn't looking because sometimes I'm not the brightest. But yes, though, I've tested this back out now, and this is the pattern that I used for the weights, if you're interested. So I've tested this out now off screen, and I can confirm that 4 weights is the right amount. So now you're just going to reseal your controller, which is real simple, you know. You're going to place your 5 screws back in the controller, just to reiterate, one right there, one right there, one right there, one right there, and one right there. So I'm going to seal mine up, and then we're going to go into a test to show you guys that this actually does work. Alright, so just so you guys can see for yourselves that everything is in fact working, start button. Wait, oh yeah, Yoshi's Island Select doesn't do anything. A, B, up, A, I don't think, yeah, X doesn't do anything. L, or R and L. As you can see, everything's working just fine as it should, you know. Press start, and yeah, select doesn't do anything in this game. But yeah, everything's working exactly how it should. And, you know, if you like this video, like it down below, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, all that wonderful stuff. Have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this, YouTube, and peace.